Afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the regular afternoon council meeting of Tuesday, October the 11th. This meeting is being recorded live and is streaming on the District of Summerland YouTube channel at youtube.com, District of Summerland. All representations to council, written or verbal, will form part of the public record and be available to the public for viewing electronically or as a written record. Members of the public may access the meeting or participate in the following ways. You can attend council chambers in person. If you wish to do so, please register in advance of the meeting by contacting the corporate officer at corporateofficer@summerland.ca to ensure there is enough space in council chambers. You can watch the meeting live or recorded, again on the District of Summerland YouTube channel. Third, you can register in advance to speak during the meeting. If you would like to provide comment during the public comment opportunities found under items 6 and 9, you're asked to register in advance by contacting the corporate officer at corporateofficer@summerland.ca with your name, your civic address, and how you will be participating in person, telephone, or by Zoom. Further details will be provided when you register. And the fourth way is to request to speak during the meeting. If you have not registered in advance but wish to speak during the public comment opportunities, you will be given the opportunity, time permitting. After I have provided everyone who has pre-registered with an opportunity to comment, the floor will be open to those in council chambers and those on the conference line. The conference line can be accessed by dialing 778-907-2071 and entering meeting ID 506-489-9374 and passcode 485186. Are there any late items to introduce? No? Okay. So council approval of the agenda is presented. Councillor Van Elfen and Holmes, all in favor? Thank you. And some minutes to adopt. September 26th, Committee of the Whole, regular afternoon meeting, public hearing, and regular evening meeting. Again, all of those are on September the 26th. Councillor Van Elfen and Councillor Holmes, all in favor? Thank you. No delegations today. Anybody waiting to speak to us? No? Okay. On to business items 7.1, zoning amendment bylaw number 2022-031 for 12210 Lakeshore Drive South. Brad.
Thank you, Worship. Let's wait till the slides come on the screen here. Thanks. So the district is in receipt of a rezoning application to rezone 2 existing parcels located at 12210 Lakeshore Drive, located in the Lower Town community. Proposed is to rezone from RSD1, residential medium lot, to RDH, which is our duplex housing, with also site-specific allowances to allow for the construction of a new duplex building at the subject property. So currently the OCP designates these 2 parcels as low density residential, which does allow for duplex housing as part of that designation. And the zoning bylaw provides, as I already mentioned, RSD1 for these 2 lots. The zoning bylaw request includes site-specific provisions to accommodate the proposed duplex to be constructed, which includes the following: reduce the minimum lot area from 850 square meters to 524 square meters, to reduce the minimum lot width for duplex housing from 25 meters to 15.2 meters, to increase the maximum floor area ratio from 0.5 to 0.93, to increase the maximum building height from the lesser of 9.5 meters or 2 stories up to 11.05 and 3 stories in height, to also reduce the minimum front yard setback from 6 meters to 4.5 meters, and then finally as well to allow for a duplex housing suite, which was essentially the same as a secondary suite, but to allow for each one of the duplex units being proposed to have a basement secondary suite. So the proposal here is just some conceptual drawings of a proposed 3-story duplex building. the main floor level is, or sorry, not main floor, the basement floor level is proposed to be the floor level with the suites for each of the half duplexes. So a total of 4 residential dwelling units are proposed to be constructed. So here's a comparison of the RSD1 zoning versus the site-specific zone that's being requested. I want to mention as well that the are currently within our duplex zoning. In order to allow for a 1.5 duplex to be constructed that straddles a property line, we actually measure the lot area and lot width in half. So each one of the existing parcels would meet these minimum amounts of 524 square meters divided by half, which is 262, and then also 7.6 meters of lot width per lot, which is the current size of the existing lots. I mentioned the suites on the basement floor level. They're proposed to be 2-bedroom suites with a kitchen and dining area, access to be via the front yard, but as I'll get into, parking is located at the rear of the building. The proposed main floor level, as well as the second floor level, and a rooftop patio is shown here for the main duplex building. The 3-bedroom units located on the second floor with access to a rooftop amenity space for each unit. So I already mentioned that one of the site-specific provisions of the zoning bylaw amendment is increasing the building height to 3 stories. You can see what this would look like from the streetscape here, and also to increase to 11.05 meters in height. That is to accommodate that vestibule to provide access to the rooftop patio. You can see at the very top of the building height. So in terms of the site plan, there's also mentioned the front setback reduction from 6 meters to 4.5 meters. That was done actually following a design change requested by district staff to remove parking access coming off of Lakeshore Drive and reorientate all the parking to be located via the rear lane. And that's coming from our driveway access bylaw, which limits access to collector roads, which Lakeshore Drive is a collector road, where there is an alternative access for available via a smaller road, such as a lane or a local road. So in this case, they do have rear access from the lane. So all of the parking for both dwelling units, as well as the secondary suites, required are coming off that rear lane access. The applicant has also provided some visuals for what the proposed duplex building would look like from the streetscape. The form and character of the proposed 3-story building is very, very similar to what's being constructed in the Lower Town area, given the small, skinny lot design of the lots that are existing. There's a single-family dwelling, just as an example, you can see on the adjacent parcel, as well as there's a yellow duplex building to the north that has a very similar type of form and character as the proposed building. So the official community plan encourages a range of and diversity of housing options, and to diversify away predominantly from single-family housing stock within our existing urban areas, where there is access to community services and infrastructure. In this case, there is access via Lakeshore Drive, and as well as the servicing that is included in the Lower Town area. In addition, the allowance for duplex suites does provide an opportunity for low-cost or affordable housing that can address to our affordable housing supply in the community. The OCP also encourages residential growth in areas that would avoid natural and hazardous areas, as well as wildfire risk, which this subject property doesn't meet. In terms of density, the OCP indicates that the preferred maximum density for low density residential areas is 22 units per hectare. The proposed duplex building with the 2 suites included would equate to a total of 38 units per hectare. So it's much larger than that 22 units per hectare amount. However, staff recognize that the 2 single-family residential lots are historical in their size with the subdivision of Lower Town. As well, currently the applicant has the rights to construct 2 single-family homes as well as a secondary suite in each one of those homes. So the actual density that's permitted with the zoning isn't really changing with this proposal, with a maximum of 4 units. Internal comments are provided here. I'm not going to go through them in detail, but I'm happy to take any questions on those. APC comments, this application was presented to the September 23rd APC meeting. Comments are provided. Most of the comments from the APC were in support of the proposal, given that most felt it was consistent with a similar build form of Lower Town in proximity to Lakeshore Drive. As you drive along Lakeshore Drive, a comment that Lower Town is starting to have its own unique village type of feel, and this development seems appropriate for that area. And for that reason, the Advisory Planning Commission did recommend support to proceed with the zoning amendment with the site-specific regulations. In terms of staff's perspective, we feel that this proposal does not introduce any new density to these existing 2 residential lots from what's already existing. As well, we note that the historical size of these lots at 7.5 meters in width would make it very difficult for any new development to occur on these properties without the need for variances, whether that be side yard setbacks in the future for a single family home or even floor area ratio as well. Given the historical size of these lots, that is something to consider when considering this proposal. We also are supportive of the applicant making design changes to limit any access off Lakeshore Drive. We see this as a benefit if we can limit the number of access points to Lakeshore Drive. And we also feel that the inclusion of the 2 duplex suites is positive for introducing more affordable housing supply. For that reason, we're recommending approval and happy to take any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Brad. Questions, Council? Councillor Holmes and then Councillor Patton.
Yes, thank you. So how many parking spots will there be in the back?
According to the district zoning bylaw, we need 2 per residential unit plus 1 for the secondary suite for each one. So a total of 6 parking stalls. And so there is a total of 6 proposed with this proposal. There's 2 stalls for each of the dwelling units that are proposed to be double fronting or double, I guess, on top of each other, so that there's 1 access point where 2 stalls can park into. But all 6 parking stalls are being met with the proposal.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Brad, we have amenity space for the upper stories. Is there any amenity space that has been allotted for the secondary suite?
Through your worship to Councillor Patton, no, there hasn't been. Specifically, there's no requirement for suites to have amenity space in the district zoning bylaw. You know, I think the way the form and character of the building is that where access to the basement level is via the front yard versus access to the main floor and second and third story level is from the rear yard, that the front yard could be used more predominantly by the basement level suite, I would imagine.
Thank you so much.
Councillor Holmes?
Yeah, thank you. So just a question about the roof over the rooftop patio. I remember another property along there, we had an issue with one of those in terms of, I think it was the form and character and kind of adding this extra height that was kind of deemed not necessarily necessary, if I can say that. So I'm just wondering, how important it is to have those, I don't even know what you call them, but those roofs over the roofs, and that might be I don't know. I don't know if we'll hear what they say in the public hearing, but I don't know if that could be an issue I could see.
Through your worship, Councillor Holmes. The rooftop patio, we're seeing a lot of proposals. If council remembers, we had a similar type of form and character for Jubilee Road, for the 40 units that are going there. It is becoming more of a common type of request from developers. It's an easy way to add amenity area to residential areas, and also where there's limited amount of area for yard space. So it is becoming more popular. It's being requested with this proposal. It's not necessarily a requirement, not for duplex housing, and we don't require amenity space, but again, the developer is putting it forward, I think, as an added value feature of these units.
Yeah, just to follow up. So I don't think it's the amenity space. The rooftop itself is the issue to people. It's having an extra layer of roof over top of that, which adds to the height of a building, but not really adding to the height of the building, if you see what I mean.
Councillor Carlson?
Thank you. Just to follow up with Councillor Holmes, do we know what the neighbor, I believe it was the yellow units, they have a highest point? Is that 11.05 meters? And is that why this one is going to that point? Because to me, it looks like, almost like a 4-story building.
Through your worship to Council Carlson, I don't know the measurement of that building. I think the form and character is very similar to it, to the existing building that's located there. I couldn't tell you, though, the exact size of that structure.
Councillor Patton?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And our Director of Development Services probably already knows this, but under Section 3.2, exceptions in determining building height, a rooftop enclosure shall not be considered as a story in calculating the building height if the rooftop enclosure is provided for elevator, machinery, a stairway, or service room. So you don't have to consider that. It adds height, but not stories. Thank you.
Okay, I have a few questions. Some of them are related to the rooftop patios. From what I can understand with the plans, there are 4 different spaces for each of the, like one for each of the 4 units. And do they share, so each side of the duplex, do they share that roof, the covered part of the rooftop?
I believe the design is that there would be a separation between each of the units for the rooftop, if I can remember offhand. And there'd be separate entrances from the internal stairwell of each of the units to get up to that rooftop space. So it'd be like an individualized unit. And also keep in mind that what's proposed is that the current property line between these 2 existing lots is going to remain in place and located on the common property wall of the 2 units. So these will be free title owned parcels that will have separate ownership.
Okay, that answers another question that I had. Thank you. So the front part where the basement tenants or residential people will be occupying, they are accessing their unit from the front, you said? So they'll park in the back, come around to the front, and I'm assuming it's a little hard to tell in the front or in the streetscape pictures. There will be landscaping in the front, so the part that is abuts to Lakeshore Drive.
Yeah, landscaping is not normally a requirement from the district side for duplexes, like for us to actually prescribe it, what's required, but I'd imagine there would be landscaping treatment with that yard space out front. And as well, I would want to mention the applicant is in attendance virtually if you have any questions for the applicant.
Okay, and I have one other question. No, two other questions. So the duplex itself, so one that has the 2 units, the other one that has the 2 units, each of the duplexes is responsible for curbside collection, not each of the units, right? So they share the curbside collection?
Yeah, that's the way I interpret the internal comments here, that each half of the duplex, each unit would be responsible for curbside collection.
Okay, and my final question is, and this comes from a comment that the APC made, improvements to Lakeshore Drive?
Yeah, that's a good question. We had some confusion on that at the APC meeting. It wasn't included in the staff's report. And following the APC meeting, I double checked with our engineering department, and this duplex building is exempt currently from our SDS bylaw. So it does not trigger roadworks onto Lakeshore Drive because of it meeting that exemption. So unfortunately, we're not going to be able to make improvements to Lakeshore Drive with this proposal.
And when you speak about the current SDS bylaw, you're talking about the one that's currently under review that'll be coming forward. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Other questions of council? Councillor Trainer.
I just have a quick question. The house next door, how come it has a driveway out to Lakeshore, but then the others in that block don't?
This is something that we recently amended in our driveway access bylaw. I think it was April or May of 2021. That where we were trying to improve access points being made on collector roads, especially Prairie Valley Road has been an area of concern to the Works Department for the number of access points coming via that road, as well as Victoria Road and Lakeshore Drive. So collectors, if we deem them as collectors, our preference is if there is an access that's available via a different connection to the property, that access be utilized instead of the collector road access. So that when that house was constructed, it might not have been in place because it was a recent amendment to our driveway access bylaw. But we are now, I would say, more proactive with developments coming forward where we're trying to limit those access points.
So in theory, then the rest of that block, when it's redeveloped, if it is, they would all access then from the back alley, and then that one house would be the only one with the driveway?
Yeah, potentially. Every new development that would come forward, we would be asking for this. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, any other questions? Could someone bring forward a motion, please? Councillor Van Elfen.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Excuse me, that zoning bylaw amendment bylaw number 2022-031 be read a first and second time, and that a public hearing be held on November 14th, 2022 to receive public feedback on the zoning amendment bylaw number 2022-031.
Thank you. Seconded by Councillor Patton. Further discussion? Councillor Van Elfen.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just looking at the streetscape, personally, I like the massing of this duplex versus one to the south. You know, just that kind of skinny standalone. This one is, you know, we're getting the density that we really want, but it looks much nicer than the single little skinny one. Just a thought. I thought I'd throw that out. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Okay. Any further comment or discussion? Call the question. All in favor? That's unanimous. Thank you. Okay, 7.2, another zoning amendment bylaw, number 2022-034 for 11612 Victoria Road South. Thank
you, Your Worship. This proposal is similar to the previous one, except a little bit different, which I'll get into. The district is in receipt of a rezoning application again to rezone from RSD1 to residential duplex housing for one property located at 11612 Victoria Road, with site-specific allowances again needed to facilitate the construction of two new duplex buildings that are both proposed to be front-back duplexes, with one unit facing Adams and one unit facing Victoria Street. So the OCP designates the subject property as low-density residential, again, which does accommodate duplex forms of housing. And the current zoning for the subject property is RSD1 residential medium lot. I already mentioned what's being requested, the RDH zoning, as well as the site-specific provisions. Specifically, the site-specific provisions includes the reduction of the minimum lot area for duplex housing from 850 meters squared to 383 meters squared, to also reduce the minimum lot width for duplex housing from 25 meters to 10.6 meters. And I should state that those two variances are required for also a subdivision that's been submitted as well for this property, is to subdivide it east-west to create two individual duplex lots. And then also a rear yard setback reduction from 7.5 to 6 meters has also been requested. So as mentioned, there's two duplex buildings being proposed with this proposal, a total of 4 units with each half of the duplex in counting towards the 4-unit total. 2 of the units would be facing Adams Avenue, and while the other 2 would be facing Victoria Road. Zoning comparison, we provided here a comparison of the existing RSD1 zone versus the site-specific RDH zone. Again, this is required, these reductions for lot area and lot width, primarily to allow for the duplex building, but also to subdivide the parcel into 2 duplex parcels. The 2 duplex units are front back, but all of the parking is proposed to be located off of Adams Avenue. Again, this is similar to the previous proposal where we are trying to restrict the amount of parking coming off of Victoria Road South as a collector road. So the proposal, in terms of floor plan, you can see it does include a full basement and it'll be unfinished, but as well a main floor level that includes, for those units, there's 2 of the units that are facing Adams Avenue will include a single attached garage, while the other ones facing Victoria would have a flex room instead of a garage. And then there's 3 bedrooms located on the upper floor. I mentioned already the parking being all allocated in the rear of the building, I guess if you call that the rear, facing Adams Avenue. No driveways are proposed to be accessed from Victoria Road South. This was a redesign as well, following staff's review, requesting that no access be permitted on Victoria Road. I do want to also mention too, on this plan, you can actually see it in detail. The district is also requiring, as part of the subdivision, road dedication from both Adams Avenue and Victoria Road South on either side of the property, which is quite significant. I think it's 4 meters off of Victoria Road, off of the property to go towards Victoria Road, and 3 meters off of the property to go towards Adams Avenue. Oops, sorry. So we also have a streetscape stitch of photos of what this proposal would look like once constructed, with a view from Adams Avenue as well as a view from Victoria Road. You can see there's some landscaping that's proposed to be retained with these duplexes, kind of shielding a bit of the impact of the dwelling units. Again, access will be limited from the Victoria Road side. Again, with the official community plan, the district's OCP encourages a range and diversity of housing options and to diversify the district's housing stock away from single family in urban areas that have access to community servicing. The OCP also encourages new residential growth in areas that avoid natural and hazardous areas, as well as reduce wildfire risk. And this property as well meets those criteria. Again, talking about density, and similar to the previous proposal, the amount of density that's being requested in the OCP for low density residential is 22 units per hectare proposed, with the 4 dwelling units at this property of 971 square meters total in size is 41 units per hectare. So again, almost double from what was originally envisioned for the area. In terms of internal comments, there are some comments in regards to the road dedication that is going to be required. I do want to mention that because of this is a subdivision, and the amount of units being requested, it is required to make upgrades to Victoria Road with the subdivision proposal. So the Victoria Road is proposed to be upgraded with this proposal up to the center line, include curb, gutter, sidewalk to be constructed, as well as storm infrastructure, which currently is not in place right now, but there is sidewalk located to the north of this property, which this new sidewalk would connect into, so which being a positive as well for the proposed development. This proposal was presented to the Advisory Planning Commission of September 23rd. Not a lot of comments from APC with regards to this proposal, but most were supportive of new development on this property, being an improvement for the area, because this property has just a very small house currently on the property right now. So adding 4 units was seen to be a positive, as well as the road widening, sidewalk and curb and gutter being constructed on Victoria Road South being a positive as well. And for that reason, APC was also supportive of the zoning bylaw moving forward for adoption. And then finally here for staff's recommendation, promoting infill development in existing service areas aligns with our growth management objectives of the OCP. And although the density requested is on the high side of what's been envisioned in the OCP, the proposed 4 duplex housing units will add to the diversity of the district's housing stock and locate 4 smaller, perhaps more affordable units in close proximity to schools for the district, the downtown, and with access to existing sidewalk infrastructure for walkability. Staff is also supportive of the applicant making design changes to limit the access off of Victoria Road, which is a busy collector road, as well the forming character of the front-back duplex design to a maximum of 2 stories in height should not materially impact the existing neighborhood, because it would appear to be a single-family dwelling from the streetscape, or 2 single-family dwellings that are smaller in nature from the roads of both Adams and Victoria Road. And for those reasons, staff are recommending that this rezoning do proceed to first and second reading and a public hearing. Thank you.
Thank you, Brad. Any questions, Councillor Trainer?
Just a question about parking along Adams. So looking at the diagram, then there would be potentially like a row of 6, like the driveway would hold 6 vehicles in a row. That's what's being proposed? Okay. And then is there street parking along Adams? And the reason I'm asking, is it realistic to think that 6 cars would park in there or fit in there? I don't have a problem with it. I'm just wondering if it's something, I mean, and then also like 1 car would be blocking the garage too, if all, I guess all 8 vehicles were there. So yeah, so is there parking along Adams?
Yeah, thank you for the question. So first of all, the parking stalls that are identified on the site plan are meeting our minimum requirements in our zoning bylaw for the right size for a vehicle, which does allow for and accommodate for larger trucks as well. It's quite, I would say, allowing for any type of vehicle type to be parking in those areas. On Adams Avenue, I don't know if there is a lot of lane parking occurring right now on Adams Avenue, primarily due to probably the width of the lane being quite reduced to this area, but the proposal does provide a lot of road widening, up to 3 meters on Adams Avenue, and maybe there would be opportunities for parking along Adams Avenue because of that additional road widening. But in terms of the proposal itself, the 8 stalls that are provided meet the zoning bylaws requirements, and it's quite common to have 2 parking stalls with 1 in an attached garage and 1 in front being meeting the requirement.
Other questions? Okay, someone like to bring this forward? Councillor Patton?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. That zoning bylaw amendment number 2022-034 be read a first and second time, and that a public hearing be held on November 14th, 2022 to receive public feedback on zoning amendment bylaw number 2022-034.
Thank you, Councillor Patton. Seconder, Councillor Carlson. Further discussion? All in favor? That's unanimous as well. Thank you. 7.3. Thank you, Brad. Correspondence. Any pieces of correspondence that folks would like to bring out? Okay, could I ask for someone to receive this for information, please? Councillor Van Elfen and Holmes, all in favor? Thank you. And item 8, bylaws for adoption, permissive tax exemption for 2023 to 2026 places of worship, amendment bylaw number 2022-035. This is just for adoption. Councillor Van Elfen, Councillor Holmes, any further discussion? Okay, all in favor? Thank you. And the same for permissive tax exemption 2023 to -2025 for Fisheries Society, bylaw number 2022-036. I just want to confirm the 2025 that's correct. Good, thank you. Someone like to bring that forward for adoption? Councillor Carlson, Councillor Patton, all in favor? Thank you. Now a really quick mayor's report. Good afternoon, and I hope everyone had the chance to spend some time on the Thanksgiving long weekend with friends and or family and reflected on the many things we can be grateful for. Very short report. On September the 29th, I spoke to UBCO students in the university's Sustainability in the Okanagan, Planning and the Political Process class. I had been asked to speak about the role that local government can play in sustainable planning, defined as ensuring there is equity between economic, social, and environmental matters. In the District of Summerland, we do this by providing vision and direction, establishing rules and regulations, providing public services, and ensuring there are adequate financial resources to support sustainable planning. I also spoke about the work this council has done to ensure a sustainability lens is applied to planning, including our strategic planning, managing public assets and the like. This is the final regular council meeting for this term. On behalf of all of council, it has been a pleasure to serve you these last 4 years. CAO.
Well, just a quick report today from me. Staff from the Works and Infrastructure Department, as well as landscaping, have been busy these last weeks, closing off fall maintenance and finishing road work as we get ready for cooler temperatures to arrive. As well, our corporate services staff have been working hard to provide advanced voting and special voting sessions at the appointed locations. Work on Centennial Trail along Peach Orchard Road is coming to fruition, and we expect that within the next week or so, we can open the trail once again to the safe enjoyment of our residents. We will put out a Facebook post or two when the time comes so folks are aware the restoration work is complete. As residents conduct their own fall preparations, we'd like to remind people that our sanitary landfill produces Class A biosolid compost. This Class A designation means the product can be sold with no restrictions, and it can be applied to lawns and flowers and shrubs and gardens. In fact, fall is the best time of year to use your compost in your yard, and it's available for purchase from the Summerland landfill in either small batches that residents can load up themselves in their own containers or bags, or we can load trucks and trailers with our loader on Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m., excluding 12 p.m. to 12:30 when staff take their lunch up there. Also, this coming Saturday, a loader will be available from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. as an extra convenience for people doing their fall preparations this weekend. Just a final note on fall preparations, our next unlimited yard waste collection day will be on the regular curbside collection days from November 1st to November 4th. During this week, on their regular curbside collection day, residents can place unlimited quantities of yard and garden waste at the curb for collection. We'll be putting out a reminder with further details before the end of the month. And with that, I conclude. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for either of our reports? All right. Now we'll go on to councillor reports. Kind of weird to be doing this in the afternoon, but here we go. Let's start with Councillor Traynor.
I don't have anything to report. I just would like to say it's been a pleasure working with all of you. I've learned so much from all of you, and I've really enjoyed my time on council. And good luck to everybody in the election. And thank you so much to Councillor Carlson, who is finishing after 8 years. And it's been a real pleasure working with you. And I'm so lucky to have met you and to call you a really good friend. So thanks for everything that you've done for Summerland.
Councillor Carlson.
Oh, thanks.
Sorry, I had you in that.
No, that's okay. All of the same things that Councillor Traynor just said. This has been a great experience, and I shall miss it. And I'll come and watch, and I'll send you emails, and I'll call you and give you my opinions once in a while. Whoever happens to get elected, perhaps I don't plan to go anywhere, so that might be a really fun way to stay involved. So thanks again, and I guess it's been a slice.
Thank you. Councillor Holmes. No report. Councillor Patton.
No report, but I'd like to say thank you to you all. I've had, being my first term, I don't think I could have worked with a bunch of better people than yourselves. We always didn't see eye to eye, but there was always that mutual respect that we always had for each other. So I thank you all, and Councillor Carlson, I hope I hear from you, and good luck to all of you come Saturday.
Thank you. Councillor Barkwell.
Yes, 4 years has flown by. I think that Well, I didn't win every vote. I think that the things have worked out well in the last 4 years, and didn't always agree with Councillor Carlson, but it was always worthwhile listening to what she has to say, and hope to hear from her if I get reelected. And that's about it.
Thank you, Councillor Workwell, and Councillor Van Elfen.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yeah, lots of lovely things have been said. I had a great 4 years. And like Councillor Barkwell said, a lot of times we didn't see eye to eye. And one thing I like to say is I haven't aged over the 4 years, as you can tell. Thank you to Councillor Carlson for 8 years of service. I don't know why I get choked up about this shit, but I do. Yeah, that's true. When Councillor Carlson, like I've been on council before, and then Councillor Carlson was on council a while ago, and I wasn't, and now we were. And it's been an honor to work with you. As a lot of people think that we have differences of opinions, and we do. One thing I can say is when we leave these rooms, we leave the opinions in the rooms, you know, and that I respect. I consider you a really good friend, and I hope you do stay in touch. But because I'm Dutch, as you know, the white roses represent peace. I hope you have a lot of peace in your life. And the orange roses represent energy and enthusiasm, and I hope you never lose that.
It's also the color of the Netherlands.
That's true. And also, I checked with our CEO, and I'm allowed to present her with this silver-plated meeting plate. For your memory. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Van Elfen.
I'm going to say thank you as well. That's very sweet.
Yes. Very touching. Thank you, Councillor Van Elfen. Okay, public or media comments? Not even for our last meeting together. All right. So I'll ask for a resolution to close the meeting to the public, please. Councillor Van Elfen and Councillor Patton. All in favor? Great, thank you.